Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching me from, and welcome to another segment of Issues of Life. My name is Jeff. Today we are going to talk about victories. And one key character that I just want us to talk about today is Joshua. Actually, when we think about Joshua, most of us think about courage. And interestingly, Joshua is just a tip of the iceberg as to what God can do, because there are so many characters in the Bible that demonstrate what victory is all about. And being a warrior in a battlefield takes a lot. And Joshua is one of the examples. I mean, the time when Joshua walked with Moses, he was one of the people who was tasked to select the armies of Israel who are going to fight the Amalekites. Interestingly is that when Moses died, God told Joshua, Manze, this is your time now. You should take over. And it comes to a point where we are in positions where the people who are ahead of us may come to a place where they no longer have the strength to continue. Perhaps they retire from life or from an office, and God calls upon you and says, now it is your responsibility to take the children of Israel to the place that I have commissioned you. And there are places where our parents have reached, and now God is speaking to us and saying, where your parent Moses reached, I want you now to enter into the promised land. There are certain victories that you in your families that your parents perhaps never attained, or there are certain battles they did not complete. So the Lord is saying, take over this battle and take your family to the promised land. And just to be quite honest, battles are not the most enjoyable things to face in life. Even the Bible tells us that our battles are not physical, they are spiritual. So most of the battles that we see in the Bible are actually spiritual. Talk about David, talk about Gideon, talk about Joshua, talk about Moses, talk about Samson, the man who killed the enemies of Israel with the jaw of a donkey. So we dive deep into the book of Joshua 1, where God tells Joshua, be courageous, don't be afraid, and I will walk with you. And this is also the same promise that God gives us in the book of Isaiah chapter 43 verse 1 to 2, that says that don't be afraid, because I will be with you. Like in the waters, in the fire, I shall be with you. Perhaps that's the reason why Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stood strong in the battle. Like it was a battleground. When Nebuchadnezzar told them, hey, so you don't want to bow down to my gods? I'm going to send you into the fire. Daniel was accused, thrown into a pit of a lion. So they are not very okay. Well, there are interesting stories to talk about, but the people who went through these life testing moments, I'm sure that it was not very easy for them. And so, as we today, we face a lot of issues in life that are battles, but there are also things that we need to learn. There are victories in victory. At every level of your life, God will always take you from one point to another. There are things that He needs you to follow or abide by that are called instructions. So Joshua is told that I want you to take the mantle. And we know of the story that they are given instructions to go and move around the walls of Jericho 7 times. And now they get the victory. To a layman, moving around Jericho, I mean, somebody would say maybe perhaps you've gone nuts, but those are the instructions of God. And that's what I'm saying. The battles that we face today, we can trace it back to the Bible. These battles, they have nothing to do with your muscle or your strength. Otherwise, David wouldn't have defeated Goliath. It was not about the battles of the muscles. The Bible also talks about the race not being for the swift, So, in a nutshell, Joshua is given instructions, and what happens? They follow the instructions. They have gotten to a place where now they have defeated the enemies, they have taken control of the city. But now God gives them instructions just after they have conquered. The walls of Jericho came down, and he tells them, you know what, as you guys are entering into that city, please don't take the accursed things, don't take things that God has spoken, like has declared them not clean. And he tells them, take the silver and gold, to these things I have consecrated them. So you know what those guys did? They were excited, they won the battle, they get into the place. People from the tribe of Judah, you know what they do? They forget the instruction of God. So they get there, and then they take the gold and the silver, and plus the accursed things that God tells them not to take. So shortly after that, or maybe some days after that, there's a battle at a place called Ai, where Israelite men fall, they die, they are killed by the enemies. Just imagine, God has won battles for you, and then now you come to a place where now you're being defeated by the enemy. At the same, within the same season. And it's not that you cannot ascribe this to say that you are walking with God. Surely, even in our lives, there are times when God allows us to win certain battles, and when we start failing in certain things, we need to ask ourselves, are we still really walking the same God? So, what is interesting about this story is that these guys, they have taken the things that God does not like. So their men are slaughtered, they die. And so Joshua and the whole camp of Israelites, they are afraid. And Joshua and the men of Israel, they cry out to God the whole day, And Joshua inquires of the Lord and finds out, there were people among us who disobeyed God. So that's why I'm saying victories are not won overnight. And in the sense that whether it's a small battle or a big battle, we still need to understand at every level that God takes us, there are instructions that he normally gives to us. And so after you win that battle, there's also another battle which we now battle internally. Do we obey God? The fact that God has blessed you today, do you still serve God? Do you still support his work? Do you still seek him faithfully? Or are there other voices that speak to you? Like these guys decided to take the things that God did not tell them. So what does it tell us? That at every stage of our life, we really need to be obedient. After learning this very interesting story of Joshua and the battles they had to face even after winning the battle to get into the promised land, you can comment on the comment section about the kind of experiences you've gone through in life and God has come through for you, but perhaps there are certain things that have shaken you to either not be in line with God, and how has the experience been? That's it for today. As always, see you next time, and God bless you.